I, 27M, am suing my brother, 41M, and my GF, 23F, wants me to disown my parents too. Is she right? Posted by u/C++ 2017. I previously deleted the post just to be safe. But here's a summary. After I got a degree in computer science, my brother and his two partners recruited me to work a summer for them. They wanted me to set up their infrastructure for their new company in finance and investments. One summer turned into 2 years of free work as a secretary, receptionist, systems tech, personal assistant, accountant, research analyst. They paid me about 4 or 5 times, totaling about $7,000 to $8,000 over 2 years. When I left to start grad school, they were mad that I wouldn't stay. When I finished grad school and put them on my resume, they lied to prospective employers about me. They denied I worked for them and said I was trying to use my brother's name to get ahead. They also accused me of visiting their office and sexually harassing female employees they never even had. I called them to ask about it, and they, including my brother, just laughed about the whole thing and said I was getting what I deserved. Kind of like, it's what you get when you F with us. My counselor and some other people from school, including my headhunter, helped me get a job. But I had to sue my brother and his partners for slander and other things. My brother called me to laugh about the lawsuit when they got served, but now they're scared, and my brother has my dad pressuring me to drop the lawsuit and just sit down with them both to work something out. My dad called this just a little big brother bullying little brother nonsense and demanded I drop the lawsuit. He and my mom uninvited me to Thanksgiving at their house, but my mom pretty much tried to stay out of it. I could tell this was hard for her. There's very little to update legally in terms of the lawsuit, but I had a laptop that contained lists of clients that my brother and his partners stole from their respective employers before they left to start the company. I didn't want to turn those files over to my attorney because things are bad enough for them already. My girlfriend had a different opinion. She wants me to just absolutely let them have it and crush them. I called my attorney and told him I had the files and dropped them off at his firm on the 9th. On the 10th, I got a call from his firm saying that my attorney needed to see me that very day. I went in, and he said that the files would be turned over to the U.S. Attorney's Office, so it's out of our hands now. But he really wanted to talk to me about my parents. He spoke to my dad and basically said that my dad is a world-class prick. He's going to subpoena both my parents to testify at a deposition and probably at trial if we make it that far. He wanted me to prepare myself for what they might say about me. He made it clear there is no turning back now. I didn't pay anything for my attorney to take the case, so his firm is very financially invested in this now. Basically, they're calling the shots now. I think my attorney thinks I'm weak or that I'll want to back off or take it easy on them. He actually told me that he knows my family would weaken me. I think he underestimates me. Anyway, he told me to just brace myself for the heat my dad will bring on me. I told him I had 2 older sisters on my side and that my mother was pretty neutral. He assured me that my mother is absolutely not neutral. So he just told me to prepare for anything. Then I got phone calls from my 2 sisters, who both live about 300 miles away. They were disgusted with my dad and my brother's behavior and had told me they were 100% behind me. Now they told me that my girlfriend and I are uninvited to go see them and their children this Christmas. They told me they loved me but that I needed to back off of this lawsuit. This was a little bit of a shock. It didn't crush me, but it wasn't easy to hear. They won't be contacting me anymore and want me to not contact them, and they said they have their reasons. They both cried when they called, but I stayed calm. They also emailed my girlfriend to let her know about being uninvited to their homes for Christmas. My girlfriend blasted them both with a very scathing response that I wish she hadn't sent, but it's her decision how she responds to them. My dad is getting a little out of control. He confronted me and my girlfriend outside the house of a family friend who had us over for a holiday get-together on Sunday night. It got heated, and I said some things that were probably below the belt and made him almost cry. His eyes watered, and he was trying not to cry. Then my girlfriend jumped in and blasted him like she did my sisters. Basically, she's on a roll right now. I can tell the gloves have come off for her. My mom just stayed in my dad's truck and watched, but I don't think she could hear anything. For now, there's nothing else going on. Oh, one other thing, my attorney said my brother and his partners closed the doors on their business already. They went under. They have filed some puzzling and contradictory responses to our lawsuit, which surprises me because my brother is usually smarter than that. They have now changed attorneys and retained a reputable firm. The first thing the new attorneys did was ask what it would take to settle. My attorney says their new attorneys are smart, they know it will be a bloodbath in court. I guess I'll just have to wait and see where it goes from here. But some of you commented from experience that the blowback from legal battles like this tears families apart for decades sometimes. I can see how this can happen, and probably will. Top/relevant comments. Downvoted commenter. Oh man. You'd better be prepared for no family gatherings for a very, very long time. I don't think a lot of people would have gone as far as you did, and that certainly is your own choice, but who loses here now, in the name of justice? Your family could lose a lot of money, and maybe they deserve it, but now there is no benefit to anybody but your attorney, as far as I can deduce from the situation. You are one emotionally rock-solid human being. Perhaps a little too rocky. Ops response. They were making me unhireable, so filing the lawsuit was something I had to do to clear my name. The 4 big companies that I got interviews with all said the same thing, that they wouldn't hire me because it looked as though I lied on my resume, and also the sexual harassment thing scared other companies away. I'm not suing my whole family, just my brother and his 2 partners. They have a lot of money but will probably wind up broke after this. My parents don't depend on my brother for money at all. I did call them repeatedly and ask them to stop, but they just laughed at me and kept charging ahead and slandering me. It just became a game to them, and they showed me zero respect. They were hoping I'd have no job to go to and would just come back and work for them again. That's what they thought would happen. Commenter 2. How did you not see this coming? I mean, you of all people should know what your brother is like. Ops response. This is the best and hardest question I've gotten. I always knew my brother was a bit of a narcissist. I just didn't know the extent of it. Because of the age difference, I didn't associate with him much. I think what happened here is I truly believed I was helping my brother for 1 summer, and it quickly turned into 2 years. I knew they would be mad when I left. I knew after a few months that all 3 of them were complete narcissists. I also thought they would hate me for leaving because they relied on me so much to keep the company operating. I knew they would have to hire 5 or 6 people to replace me, and that's not an exaggeration. So I knew they would be mad. After that first year, I knew this would end up badly between me and my brother. But I could have never guessed it would be this bad. That's why I decided to apply for grad school. Sure enough, when I finally left, all 3 of them were really pissed at me. They had not 1 ounce of gratitude for the 2 years of free labor. But I never guessed they would slander me like that once I tried to get a job. Especially because when I was still in grad school, they would call me to come in on weekends and work for them. But by then, I was waiting tables at a restaurant near school, and I had a couple of close friends who pretty much shook some sense into me, because I actually considered going back to help them part-time while I finished school. I guess I should have seen more of this coming, but I was honestly completely and utterly blindsided by them slandering me and making up the whole sexual harassment BS. As narcissistic as they are, and I've never met more narcissistic people, I truly was shocked that they came at me that hard and showed absolutely no compassion. I didn't want to go into so much detail again, there would just be too much to type. But with what I'm finding out about my brother through my attorney, it's worse than I ever thought. Not paying me and slandering me was just what I knew about. But now we know there was other stuff, like fraud against me and others that I didn't know about, serious tax violations also against me and against the IRS, and some identity theft where he used my name on some documents that I clearly didn't sign or even know about. The more they dig, the worse it gets. At some point, it's almost easier to just tell them to stop digging. Let's just go with what we have. I know one thing, I was very lucky I left them when I did. Otherwise, I may have been dragged down with them and the legal trouble they have coming their way. Commenter 3. What did your girlfriend say to your dad that cut? What did you say? Ops response. I posted a summary of that in a long comment somewhere on this post. But basically, my dad questioned my morals, so I brought up stuff about him. He cheated on my mother a long time ago, he got a DUI but gave the cops his brother's name, and his brother took the rap for that about 25 years ago. His brother is no longer alive, so it hurt him that I brought up how he treated his late brother. There was other stuff, about him having been excommunicated from a church for ripping off many of the members when he had a small construction business, which he ran using his brother's license, by the way, because my dad had his revoked for being a crook. Then my girlfriend asked him how it felt to go to church 5 days a week, which he does, and then come out and be the crook that he is. Then she asked him what he was going to do if Judgment Day came tomorrow for him. She asked, "What are you going to do? Give God your brother's name and say that he did all those things, not you." Commenter 4. If you don't want to settle, don't do it. As set up thread, it would be a bloodbath in front of a judge/jury. Your brother and his friends are so bizarre, why work so hard to not pay an excellent worker or prevent you from having a real job? God. Ops response. They have a very good answer for your question. Here was their reasoning. They wanted me to get licensed and bonded in their field, which I did. But I just had the license and still didn't know much about investments. They figured once I got licensed, people would flock to me and bring their portfolios. They wanted me to call all my friends' parents and anybody I knew to come see us for a free portfolio review, and then they said they would close the deal and I would make so much money that I would be swimming in it. So that's how I found out in the end that they planned on paying me all along. They figured after they made me filthy rich, they wouldn't owe me anything anymore. That's how delusional they were. That's why I finally left. Commenter 5. One thing to think about, if the company closed its doors or is bankrupt, the company can no longer be sued and all of its debts are discharged. You will have to pursue your brother and partners in their individual, not corporate, capacity. This will be a little more difficult, possibly, if it is indisputable that they were acting in their corporate roles, something to ask your attorneys about. Ops response. As far as the company closing its doors, it won't matter to our case. The three idiots never incorporated, no LLC, no partnership, nothing. The company had a name, but it was just a name they registered as a DBA with the county clerk and had stationery made. They didn't trust each other enough to have a corporation being paid all the commissions and then having a corporation pay them. They wanted to keep their commissions totally separate. Then they split the bills 3 ways. I know that because I kept financial statements up to date for all 3 of them. So all the business they did in the 4 years was in their own names. That's why all 3 of them have now transferred the deeds to their homes to their wives. They know there's no corporation to hide behind. Op on his family and the lawsuit. At this point, the damage is done to my family. I don't see the point in backing off now, especially since 2 of the 3 people I'm suing are not even related to me. Besides, I spent weeks calling them and asking them what the hell they were doing by badmouthing me. I asked them to stop, and they just laughed about it. All 3 of them laughed like they were toying with some little kid. They would say stuff like, "Don't worry, we'll still hire you when nobody else wants you." They thought it was some kind of funny prank they were pulling. Then they stepped it up and made up the stuff about me sexually harassing their secretaries, which they never even had. Then, when I finally sued, my brother called me with the sole purpose of laughing at my lawsuit. He laughed and said they have attorney friends who would work for them for free and that their attorneys would crush my attorney. I could hear his 2 partners laughing in the background and making jokes to taunt me. They never took me seriously. Then when he was done laughing, he told me to just get used to the fact that I would be working for them in the future. He made a joke about what a bad career move it was for me to sue my future employer. So this became very personal for me, and I was glad to see that my attorney was just as insulted by them, that he's taking this kind of personally. Like I've said many times, the damage is done. My family is gone, they're not coming back. So I'm totally on board when my attorney tells me that he's going to make them feel a lot of pain. I just don't think my attorney believes I can take the heat of a full-on trial. But I think he's wrong. Although, I don't think it will come to that.
Update 5 months later. Okay, let me begin by saying that I am not the original poster. I am his girlfriend. We live together, and I read the last post. My boyfriend is moving on and wasn't going to post a final update, so I asked if I could, and he said yes. Things have wrapped up. They signed a settlement agreement, and now it's up to the judge to approve it. The judge won't do that for 2 more weeks, but apparently, it's a formality. It's a sure thing he'll approve it, at least, that's what the attorneys say. As far as the settlement, I can't really disclose much, but I can say that it's close to what my boyfriend was suing for in terms of the monetary figure. They had transferred their houses to their wives' names, which are in the process of being sold to pay off the settlement. The settlement included a written apology and a complete admission of guilt from all 3 of the defendants. They also have to write apology letters and retractions to all the employers who refused to hire my boyfriend based on the slander. I think there were 4 companies in total. All 3 of them had their licenses taken away and will never work as financial advisors again in any state, apparently. They also will face a criminal investigation due to some forged signatures on some of the deals they made, which will lead to convictions, but probably no jail time, according to the experts. Financially, they are beyond ruined, which is what I thought they deserved the whole time. I know my boyfriend regrets this whole thing, and I understand that. It's still his family, and they were close at one point. I think he's better off without them anyway, but that's easy for me to say. His parents are totally a lost cause. I don't think there will be a reconciliation in this lifetime after what's happened. I thought my boyfriend would be open to one when the dust settled, but now I don't. During the mediation hearings, his mom and dad both testified. They both lied, but I knew his crooked dad would. I was shocked that the mother lied about there having been a verbal agreement that my boyfriend would work for his brother's company in exchange for room and board at the parents' house, and that the dad had also been paying him in cash for working. She said she witnessed my boyfriend refusing payment from his brother many times. She lied about a lot of other very hurtful things, right there while my boyfriend sat and watched her. She never looked at him, not once. His dad never looked at him either, but at least he sat there the whole time after he testified to support his older son and his friends. His mother left the room crying after she testified. I was not shocked that she testified because the attorney had said she might. But I was extremely shocked about the horrible things she said about my boyfriend. She will someday regret doing that to her son. Such an awful and just revolting, repulsive thing she did. What she did to her youngest son is inexcusable. It was beyond utterly disgusting. She really has no clue how much damage she did to her youngest son. I doubt he'll ever get over it, and I doubt he will ever want to see her again. Not to rant about the mother, But she lied and said disgusting things about her youngest son, and he's the only good son she has. He's the only one who doesn't owe his dad anything. He's the only one with compassion and high morals, the only one who constantly worried about her and kept in touch with her. She messed up in the most disgusting way. How can she do that? He was there for her more than her other 3 kids put together. All for a lawsuit that she had to know they were going to lose. Her testimony did nothing to help their case, nothing. She testified for absolutely no reason. We sent Christmas gifts to my boyfriend's sisters and their daughters. We received thank you cards in return. They haven't contacted my boyfriend since, but I have received a couple of hello emails from one of them. She never mentions my boyfriend or the family problems, she just says hello and asks how I'm doing. I just respond by saying we are both good and hope they are all doing well. I'm not sure where this will go, but it's a small step in what seems like will be a long road before they are allowed by their father to reconcile with their brother, or until they have the courage to do so without the dad's blessing. I think they are both too embarrassed to contact my boyfriend directly. I can sense that they are trying to find a way that will eventually lead them to him. I think they need to just contact him, but that's not my decision. I keep looking at this from my perspective, and my family is really close, so it's hard to watch what's going on with his family. I just think, what the hell? Why do you do this to each other? But that's just how it is. Just to be clear, I knew very early on that my boyfriend's parents were toxic. I initially just wanted him to cut all ties with them. The way they sided with the older brother, knowing how he tried to destroy his own little brother's career, told me a lot. I wished back then that my boyfriend would just disown them, but I knew that was unrealistic at the time. I knew I was emotional, and I backed off when I saw how stressed my boyfriend was. But things escalated, and now I think my boyfriend's mom has dealt a death blow to any chance of reconciliation. I'm not just saying that because I'm against it. I'm not for it, and I'm disgusted with her. But I can see the damage she did up close. I'm afraid he may never forgive her. She just went overboard in such a horrible way. I have been talking to my dad about this the whole time, and everything has turned out exactly the way he said it would. Everybody, all parties, are destroyed. It's like a bomb went off, and everybody got hit. /relevant comments. Commenter. The settlement included a written apology and complete admission of guilt from all 3 of the defendants. They also have to write apology letters and retractions to all the employers that refused to hire my boyfriend based on them slandering him. I think there were 4 companies in all. All 3 of them had their licenses taken away and will never work as financial advisors again in any state, apparently. They will also face a criminal investigation due to some forged signatures on some of the deals they made, which will lead to a conviction, but probably no jail time, according to the experts. That gave me a massive justice boner. That aside, it's good that he succeeded in his case. I only hope that he can live happily without his crappy parents for the rest of his life. Being estranged from family can be very hard for some people. Try to be there for him the best you can. Good luck, you two. Ops response. All parties were destroyed to some degree from this legal fight. My boyfriend will recover eventually, but I don't know when. I keep thinking he will fall apart, but he has been going about his daily stuff like nothing has happened. I know he is in more pain than he is showing right now. I know that because he literally does not sleep. He just lies in bed, totally awake. That is not normal for him. He is the kind that has a hard time waking up, not the other way around. Commenter 2. Wow, the fact that his own mom testified against him, essentially picking the crappy son over the good son, is horrible. It made me feel so sad and hollow inside. I can't even begin to imagine how your boyfriend must feel. I don't know if I could ever forgive that either. I see stuff like this so often, though. Parents take their obedient, loyal children for granted while they move heaven and earth to help the rotten ones. You sound like an amazing girlfriend. Hopefully, your family can welcome him with open arms and give him the kind of love and support that he's been denied. Ops response. His attorney warned again and again that his mother was not neutral and that she was not innocent in this. As much as he tried to prepare him for his mom turning on him, he just wasn't ready. It totally destroyed him inside. Commenter 3. This was exactly my thought. Her punishment will be having to live with that decision for the rest of her life. It would be so tough having to choose between going through a divorce and cutting ties with the majority of her family versus doing the right thing and saving the relationship with her one son. I would hope that in that situation, I would do the right thing, but there might be more barriers than we know about in her moral predicament. I suspect that the majority of people who are emotionally vulnerable or easily coerced would probably side with their partner in this situation. You'd have to have ironclad determination and the willpower to uphold your moral beliefs in this situation, and be willing to risk everything for what is right. Ops response. To be honest, I don't think I can give her that much benefit of the doubt. She had choices. She would not have been financially strained even if she lost her husband. She knew that because my boyfriend always let her know that before things got really ugly when they were still talking. She had a choice, and she knew how disgusting a person her husband is to everybody he comes in contact with. She had a choice, and it wasn't a bad choice. She had very good options. I really hate her right now. She hurt her son worse than she will ever know. Commenter 4. I really feel for your boyfriend. I bet he just can't fathom how his mother could do such terrible things because he's not like them. I think he's better off as well. Have you thought of taking him to counseling to deal with it? By the way, it's terrible that he was destroyed. I do think he had no other option but to do what he did. Ops response. Yes, it was easy for me to tell him to go ahead with the lawsuit and crush them, but none of us saw that he would be the one to take the blows that he did. When I see how he doesn't sleep at all, it's hard not to second-guess everything and wonder if maybe there wasn't another way. There wasn't, but you still wonder if there was something you didn't see. Commenter 5. I think both you and your boyfriend did the right thing. If his family wasn't willing to support him and blame his brother like they should have in the first place, then there wasn't anything else you could have done without your boyfriend just having to take the abuse. I'm so sorry that it's been so hard on the two of you, but hopefully, you'll find some relief in the knowledge that you were totally in the right here. Ops response. That, and also the people at school who vouched for him to help him get a job when they made him unemployable, told him he absolutely had to sue to clear his name or this would follow him forever. He had no choice when you think about it. But it sucks that his family knows how he is, a sensitive person with a big heart, and they totally exploited that by hitting him where it hurts. They treated his big heart like it was a weakness and just attacked. That drives me so insanely mad.